Haven't I too? So in this video, I just want to share the number one reason or the number one thing that I love about living on the continent or living in Africa. Pardon self if you can hear the construction. Just I hope you can still hear me. So the number one thing that I love about living here is the culture of the people. Like, it's very family oriented, it's very cultural, tribal culture, the tribal culture of the people. I feel like the people and like the tribal culture, the family, community based structure, it shows me just how much or how far we've gotten away from that in the West. And it makes you really value it more because everyone here, even if we look the same, we look similar or whatever the case, genetically we actually are the same or similar. Being here, they look at you as a foreigner. It doesn't matter. You can get any genetic test. You can start wearing their clothes. You can assimilate to their culture all you want. But either way you look at it, they look at you as a foreigner. And being a quote-unquote foreigner, so-called foreigner on a so-called foreign land, which isn't really foreign, but, we're going to play with that. Being a so-called foreigner on foreign land, being looked at and treated as a foreigner, it can feel very isolating. It can kind of force you to isolate or force you to assimilate one way or the other. And because we can observe them and see how close they are, how tight-knit they are, how they stick together, and how their family structures are still intact, even if things have been a little bit more modern and things are a little bit more mixed and there's different things taking place, because it's layers, right? Even through all of that, they still have that African or native instinct, that tribal culture, that family oriented structure. Like, the family structure is still intact. They still value family above everything else. No matter how modern things have gotten, they still hold on to their family. They still value marriage. They still value male-female relationships. They still value having children. They just still have, they still respect and value their elders. And that's something that it's so discombobulated in the U.S. Things are not at that level in the U.S., in the West. But specifically, I'm speaking about the U.S. because that's where I came from. So, yeah, that is one thing that I really love about being here, and it makes you value it even more. It makes you see even more the importance of having a community or having a family, especially for those of us who, have kind of set out on our own, what seems to be our own path outside of the families that we were raised in. Yeah, so I say that to say, like, it's very important now more than ever for us to come together, and not just come together just to say, oh, we're together, and just to take pictures and just say things, but to actualize and to really embody what family is, and embody what family needs, and embody that tribal culture, and not be afraid of ourselves and not be afraid of each other. Because to truly be loyal to something or to somebody, we actually have to know first what it is that we are getting ourselves into. But we have to also, coming from the world and coming from the West, we have to know that when we're coming together with people, we are all coming from the same world, but different backgrounds. We had different upbringings. Not only do we have different upbringings, but we have different experiences in the world, like outside of our household. We went to school, we was in the streets, in different communities and things like that, right? And then we get into this spiritual path or this spiritual way, and we kind of have to be prepared to deal with those things, because we actually have to be prepared to try as much as we can to actually shed all of that, because One thing about living on the continent, which I love, no matter what happens between people, no matter what occurs, you will not see them be against each other. These people will literally, how can I say this? No matter what happens, family comes first. And I know that's something that's spoken about in the US or in the Western world, family first. But in the West, it's not really upheld to the extent or to the standard that it is out here. And the point that I'm trying to make is because we're coming from that world with different, differences and different beliefs and perspectives and this and that, we have to know in our mind that when we come together in these different communities, and if you want to come here and join our growing community, we have to know like we're going to have to be prepared to have uncomfortable conversations, uncomfortable conversations. We have to be prepared to shed a lot of things and be faced with ourselves in ways that we have not experienced before, in ways that we are not used to. And we have to know that beforehand and actually have in mind like, no, this has to be my family. Like, this is my family, and it doesn't have to be I'm not going to say it doesn't have to be hard, because life is actually hard. Life for African people or native people, people who are in nature, living a natural, organic way, are actually, life is hard for them. They work very, very hard, but they work together. They work hard, but they work together. And that is the point I'm trying to make. Like, we have to be prepared to work hard on ourselves, to work hard with creating this new life that we're creating for ourselves, which is not really new. We're just returning to a more native liberty, but it feels new because it feels foreign, because for generations we've been living however we've been living, thinking however we've been thinking. So we have to be prepared and know and just dedicated and committed. So above all, because we are married to our mission, we become married and one with our ideals, our values, all of these things are one with us. So all of the other extra stuff that we piled on top from the world, we just have to be able to let it go, right? And yeah, I feel like living here, it shows me that it's possible for us to do that. And I remember a few years ago, I was speaking with someone and they pretty much asked me how I felt about seeing so many of these eco villages and communes and stuff like that popping up all over the earth. And I pretty much said, like, I feel like it's a very beautiful thing to see so many humans, whether you black, white, yellow, Chinatown, whatever, right? Whatever you think you are, whatever we think we are, I think it's beautiful to see so many humans returning to a more self-sustainable, regenerative, native-based, native way of life, off the grid, off the beaten path. I think that's a very beautiful thing. And embracing community and embracing cooperation, embracing just oneness and togetherness, right? But one thing that I also said was, it gives me hope, because I know, like, we can do that too. And just a quick tidbit about me. A few years ago, I also had an experience living communally, or living in a eco village, right? Outside of the United States. And I saw a lot of things take place. I saw a lot of things happen, a lot of uncomfortable conversations, just a lot of things. And I had that experience. And even that added to my answer in the question. Like, you don't see a lot of brown, you melanated people coming together in a way that's actually very, not only harmonious, but that's actually structured in a certain way without it being demonized or even romanticized. And again, just my point is, living on the continent is giving me hope that we can actually come together. Like, that's where we come from. You know, it shouldn't be something so left field for us to really want to come on our own as a unit and strengthen each other and one another and actually work together and adopt another way of being and another way of thinking, another way which will impact how we feel. You know, another way of thinking, feeling, acting, behaving, and just return it to structure, like a structured family, a community. So, yeah. So, I say all that to say, if anyone is watching this right now and you feel like, not even that you feel, but you know in your heart that we actually need to come together right now during these times, more than ever right now, and you resonate or you want to communicate, you want to see if we resonate and see where we stand, or whatever the case, we are open. My heart is open. Our hearts are open to those love-minded, love-spirited people who we can come together and strengthen one another. Like I said, African people, Native people work hard, but they work together. So if you're ready and, you know, wanted to put in the work, not just on the if you're ready to put in that work on yourself, with each other, and also put in work with building something from the ground up and putting in that time and that energy, and just to value something more than what we've ever known before, then you can message me, you can send me an email, you can hit me on Telegram, Telegram at Ahava Mama even, or Instagram, Facebook, any of those social media platforms. But preferably, you will still get referred to Telegram at Ahava Mama. And especially women, you know, that's another thing that I really love. Well, it goes into the family thing, but the women really just all work together, and everything just is very simple. I'm not romanticizing anything, but you can see like the simplicity and how things flow and how things are just cohesive. Everything is just how it's supposed to be, you know. And again, native women are some of the most hardest working women on earth. I know, coming from the West, we think that we are hard working because we go to school, we get up, we can be disciplined when it comes to our schooling, we can be disciplined when it comes to our career, we can be disciplined when it comes to all of those things. But these women are hard working from a labor standpoint. Like, they put in time and energy, but it's not like strenuous to them because they work together. Like, they have many children. So I said it to say, like, if you're a mother, if you're a wife, you have children, you have a family, it's families, we gotta come together, like, and really, really, like, really, 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 really be together. Because you cannot come out here solo. You cannot come out here with you and your husband and your children. You cannot come out here with just you and your children. You will have to be on such go mode. Like, you have to have extra shells up. You have to do things extra when we can move together and just strengthen each other. We can take care of each other's children, take care of each other. We can just take care. Women build communities. That's another thing that I love about living on the continent. Like, it shows you the reality of a family structure or community structure. Families are built and sustained, upheld by the women. We literally do everything, but it's not oppressive. It's actually Native women. Native women will tell you that they get their autonomy from being able to go out and gather and forage and bring things to the family, to the tribe. That gives the women their autonomy, their sense of self, their sense of purpose. Not like us in the world where we get our autonomy and our sense of purpose and value from going out and making money, going out and creating things for ourselves and doing this and doing that. Like, no, what gives us or gives a Native woman her sense of purpose is going out and doing things for her family. So yeah, if you're a mother and just a wife, wanting or desiring to be a wife and a mother, or just a sister, like, now is no better time than to do that right now. And again, like I said, we have to also be prepared to be having uncomfortable conversations, be able to ready to like really face ourselves in ways that we probably haven't been used to, but it's not something to be extreme or feared or just something that is not. It can be beautiful. So let's create our families and create our new earth, right? So yeah, before this video gets too long, that is what I love about living on the continent. It shows you all of that. It showed me so much about myself, showed me so much about, yeah, life, reality. The monkey is peeing. So that's my sign. I'm gonna go, and again, you can reach out to me via Telegram at Ahava Mama. You can send me an email. The email is also in the description. I actually really look forward to hearing from you. I hope to hear from you. So until next time, God out.